Hello and welcome to the Radio Times podcast. This week we have another special after our scheduled TV at Christmas special last week. Now we're going for On Demand. I'm joined by James Gill and Ben Allen, my resident On Demand experts, who are going to talk us through some of the best things to watch this Christmas. So James, what would you say is the top pick?
Okay, well, I mean, let's just get it out of the way early on. I mean, The Crown is the big release on Netflix now. It's all available now. Probably people have already watched it now. I mean, I think you're already halfway through.
I'm halfway through, but I'm not as fast as some.
No.
Some people are straight out of the box. They get the whole thing in a day.
But yeah, like basically that'll be the premium drama for Christmas. And I mean, there's even a scene where they talk about the Queen's Christmas speech anyway, sort of thing. It just seems like it's tailor-made for a Christmas drama for everyone, really.
So that's series 2 of The Crown.
Yeah.
And this stars
with Claire Foy as Queen Elizabeth and Matt Smith as Prince Philip. Yeah, he was Doctor Who for a while ago, I think. But and I love Claire Foy in this because it's so incredible how she manages to make what frankly should be quite a dull character very engaging to watch. So I think I've never heard any sort of writer of a drama be so down on their central character. I think Peter Morgan called her a woman of limited intelligence, inward looking, quietly spoken, interests are just sport and the countryside sort of thing. And it's like, oh well, that's the show that that's the character you've based your show on, sort of thing. But actually,
she's quite an important person, isn't she?
Yeah,
limited intelligence.
Yeah, he's quite cutting about about it. But she just brings her to life.
That's fantastic performance, isn't it? And Matt Smith's amazing as Philip as well. And Princess Margaret, who is that?
Yeah, that's Vanessa Kirby.
That's an amazing performance. Well, I mean, it's such a brilliant person to play, such a complex character, and really so different to her sister, the Queen, in the show. But there's so much more acting to be done.
Yes, she has more to do.
Really great performance. Really, there's so much going on there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, this is the Christmas drama. Whether you're watching stuff on the telly or not, sort of thing. This is just always there for you over the Christmas period, and it just works.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
So that's The Crown, which is that's the Radio Times. It's on the back there.
They'll enjoy that.
They'll enjoy that. Also, we've got the Grand Tour, which is of course
which
Clarkson, Hammond, and Mays.
They're for Amazon subscribers, I suppose this is their equivalent major blockbuster show. The difference with Grand Tour is that it goes out every Friday. So we had the first episode last Friday, and the new one is out today. So the first episode of season 2 was obviously going to be a big moment because they included Richard Hammond's much publicised crash accident. So basically that was the entire selling point of that first episode. It comes right at the end, but you tune in because you want to see what happens, sort of thing. It would be quite interesting to see how it progresses this for the rest of the series, because they have made some changes. They've accepted that sort of not everything worked last year, but for people who love Clarkson, people who love Hammond and May, it's exactly what they want.
It's not actually a Grand Tour anymore, is it? It's all now filmed in Jeremy Clarkson's garden or somewhere.
Basically, it's so the idea was.
They're still going around the world doing stuff, but they're not moving.
So
they're week
in series 1 had a studio tent that would go somewhere different each week. This year they're keeping it in the same place, as I say, right outside Jeremy Clarkson's house, but mainly so that they can actually bring celebrities onto the show and get them to do stuff, because last year it was sort of they had a weird sort of format where basically they'd just sort of kill them off in slightly uninspired ways, sort of thing. This they actually get to crack on and do the equivalent of a star in a reasonably fast car, so reasonably fast, reasonably priced car. Sorry, Top Gear. But so I think that will be, and yeah, again, it's for all Clarkson's kind of joshing and slightly sort of sometimes unsavory sort of character. He's definitely a family entertainer. Like, I mean,
it's incredibly well put together production,
and it's stunning. Like, what you've got. What they've got at their disposal for this Amazon show is just off the charts. And it makes it look incredible.
It's just so interesting because obviously we've no idea how many people are watching it, and a huge expense for Amazon to bring the three of them and Andy Willman and that whole production across. And you do wonder, is it being watched in the same way Top Gear was, and what's the worldwide audience for it? And it is really interesting to kind of.
I mean, I talked to Clarkson before the start of the series, and he genuinely was like, I have no more idea than you do. The only thing he said was that after series 1, he had a sort of meeting with Amazon, and he was like, so come on, give me an idea how many people are watching, and apparently the sort of Suits answer was kind of like, oh well, if it wasn't going well, there would only be 2 of us here, but there's actually 30 of us here. So I think they still think of them as a valued
huge hire, aren't they?
Did it seem to bother him that he didn't know? Because I think I'd like to know.
I think he's made his peace with it.
Sure.
It's quite odd because I mean he was always quite proud of the Top Gear overnights and how many millions were watching it.
If you're making a show, it just sort of makes sense. You want to know that people are watching it. It'd just be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a bit like with the website. You want to know you want to know people are reading it. If you're just writing stuff and just maybe someone read it. Who knows? That's kind of a strange feedback loop, but I guess that's the modern way.
Anyway, there will definitely be a lot of people watching it this Christmas.
So it's every Friday.
Every Friday for 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. And another big one, which is quite a big buy-in, wasn't it? But it's obviously starting on another channel, but Black Mirror and Charlie Brooker.
Yeah, do you want to talk a bit about it?
Sure, yeah. So Black Mirror comes out on the 29th of December. We don't know a huge amount about it yet. It's 6-episode season. There's an episode directed by Jodie Foster, which is about a mother and daughter relationship. There seems to be a Star Trek parody type thing. We also know that Charlie Brooker has said in the past that it's going to be a bit more lighthearted by the sounds of things. It's going to be a bit different to
that
previous
doesn't sound
seasons.
like Black Mirror.
Well,
normally very lighthearted, is it? It's normally deeply depressing.
No, I think it's still going to be deeply depressing.
But funny as well.
Yeah, it seemed to. I think there's
tough balance to find.
It's going to be hard. I think he seemed to want to do something slightly different. I guess.
The interesting thing for this is that obviously it comes right after Christmas. It's that sort of end of year. It's that weird period in between Christmas and New Year where people are sort of still on holiday, much people, and so it is like, I mean, we'll talk about a few other bits and pieces, but it is like perfect binge watching time for that. And also, Charlie Brooker is not going to be on the BBC doing his end of year wine thing as well. So if you're a fan of his work, and there's loads of people who are obviously sort of thing, this is really exciting. This is one of the biggest releases of the year for you.
And we get them all at once, don't we? It's not a weekly. I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's a great show. Obviously some are better than others because they're standalone stories, but
I think that's what makes it fun, though, isn't it? Because you're always comparing about sort of how they treat it. Because last year the phenomenally successful San Junipero was very different, and maybe that's why he's talking about being more light-hearted, something, because it's that was a very different Black Mirror episode.
It's kind of positive,
yeah. But that's the fun of it. You don't quite know what you're going to get, and they are keeping their cards very close to their chest as well, which makes it quite intriguing.
It's quite seamlessly moved across to Netflix as well from broadcast TV. It feels like nothing changed. Like you worry sometimes when things go to a different platform or a different channel, and actually it's just as good.
Yeah, the weird thing is,
if anything, it's better because I think the more access to more people, it's become a bigger global phenomenon,
and probably more money as well behind them.
Yeah, you get, but the fun thing is you still get like those up and coming British stars. So Michaela Cole was in last year, was one. She's also in one of the episodes this season as well. You had people like James Norton last year before he became a sort of big British star. He was just sort of popping up, sort of thing. So you kind of whilst it's now run from LA, it still feels like one of our shows.
It feels very British, and it's got that great balance of big stars and up and coming stars, and it remains quite true to its British roots, which is nice to see a big global export. Like Clarkson, Hammond and May, but just quite different. So, what if you want to get in the Christmas mood on and get your value for money from your Netflix and your Amazons and the like? What have they got? Have they got anything that?
So I mean, we
will help you jingle all the way.
Yeah, of course. You need to have Arnold Schwarzenegger at Christmas, don't you?
Actually, I see that, it wasn't even intended as a joke, but I see that Jingle All the Way is actually available.
It is actually on Netflix. Okay. I mean, we've got on the website we've got a full list of kind of all the best Christmas movies you can see and stuff like that. But the one that people
we'll connect that in the comments, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're listening, you'll have to find it on the website.
The one that everybody asks about, obviously, is Elf.
Because it's just not on the telly, is it? Even though everyone wants it, but no one seems to buy it, and I don't know why that never happens.
And you assume that just everybody has it on DVD or sort of like bought it from Tesco or something like that, but actually no. It's sort of
other retailers are available.
Sorry about that. But yes, you can watch Elf on Amazon Prime Video. If you are an Amazon subscriber, you can have it free, you can stream it, you can download it, whatever sort of thing. So
they've won the battle in a way.
They've
got Clarkson and they've got Elf, the big two.
That's their grotto.
And then excitingly on the 14th, so it's already happened, Love Actually has arrived on Netflix.
Are you really excited about that? You
don't look excited.
I mean, I think Love Actually is a perfcly reasonable Christmas film. I can see why people like it.
It's incredibly well loved, isn't it?
It's very well loved.
And a bit Marmite, I think there are people who really don't like it as well, but it's definitely become a modern Christmas classic, hasn't it?
For sure, I feel like it very much slots into a lot of people's, especially I imagine younger generations' Christmas films, because it's kind of one when we were growing up, like my generation.
And I think Christmas is a time for reminding yourself of being young and stockings by the fire. As he says, he whimsically thinks about being young.
Whilst recovering from the office as well.
And this, it's a nice, light-hearted rom-com. It's got some cheesy lines, but you can get past that. It's nice.
That's what you want at
uplifting.
Christmas, though, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
The one I have,
cheese with your turkey.
The one I have on Netflix that I quite. It's not a Christmas fit. Well, it is a sort of Christmas one-off. It's the Blackadder Christmas Carol,
which is excellent. One of the best adaptations of Dickens, really, isn't it?
And it's very faithful. And I know you like the Alan Partridge Christmas.
No Me, No Yule.
Yes,
that's very good. Yeah, so that comes after. So they did the TV series No Me, No You, which was his chat show, which was based heavily on the radio show. But then this was the one at the end before it went to I'm Alan Partridge, which is probably best remembered and loved by most Partridge fans. But No Me No Yule is a real gem. It's great. It's really funny. It's he hosts a Christmas party in an exact replica of his house built in a studio, and it ends with Mick Hucknall singing "Ding Dong Merrily on High." Which
if only we could spend that much on our set, rather than
in
a plain white room.
It sets up his downfall from the BBC essentially as well, because it's what he ends up.
It fits into the wider narrative. Very
good. He comes across Tony Hayers. He invites him on the show. In fact, anyway, It's a Wonderful Life is on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. So that's a big one, obviously.
Can't get more Christmassy than that.
You can't.
That was, I think,
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's always one of the top Christmas films of the year, isn't it?
This year?
I can't say yet.
No,
not told anyone yet.
Spoilers.
We do an annual poll on the website, and it all will be revealed at some point.
When we can
probably quite soon. But
hopefully
not today.
It's a Wonderful Life is probably my second favourite Christmas film.
But your favourite is?
My favourite is In Bruges, because I insist that it is a Christmas film. I'm putting my
there is snow.
Put my neck on the line here. Well, there's more than snow. Okay, so there's. I feel strongly about this now. I just decided yesterday that it's a Christmas film. If Die Hard's a Christmas film, which
definitely.
people
Die
said
Hard,
that it is.
but at the end of Die Hard, there is like a Christmas song and everything. And
Yes.
it's all set at
Okay,
Christmas.
so we need to we need to
Makes it quite
decide.
Christmassy.
We need to decide what
What's the case for In Bruges?
Okay, so in Bruges, it takes place at Christmas. Okay,
Right.
There's a lot of Christmas trees in the background.
Yeah.
At the very least, there is an overarching narrative of like kind of similar to It's a Wonderful Life of life being worth living. You know, there's I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. So In Bruges is a film by Martin McDonagh, who's actually just been nominated for a whole load of Golden Globe Awards for his upcoming 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which is a really long and annoying title. But I've seen it, and that's very, very good. So he's going to be in the news soon. So it stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson as 2 hitmen who have to go to the small Belgian town of Bruges to hide out after one of them makes a mistake on his first job, Colin Farrell. And yeah, I just think it has...
Sounds incredibly Christmassy.
Life-affirming hitman. This is...
So I'm just gonna the things that I think make it a Christmas film. It's got the Christmas decorations, Christmas trees. It's got snow. It's set in a fairy tale-esque village. There is.
Is it set in Bruges?
It is in Bruges, yeah, which is a fairy tale village.
Is it a village? I don't know.
It's a city, yeah.
European municipality.
But there's a village-esque quality.
Yeah, no, it's
to it.
an old place which conjures up
cobbled streets,
visions of Christmas.
Where are we going?
I don't know.
And there is then, yeah, as I said, this overarching narrative.
Great. So all right, I'm buying to that.
Are
So
you sold?
if you're doing
It's
your
on the
Christmas
list.
films,
You
you've
don't
got
look sold.
Elf, Love Actually, Jingle All the Way, It's a Wonderful Life, and for those of you who want to try a new Christmas film, In Bruges
In
with
Bruges,
Colin Farrell.
yeah.
Okay, I think that concludes our Christmas films section.
Yeah.
Yeah, although
Those
I'm
of you who need them.
I'm gonna be a very public service here, sort of thing. So over Christmas on BBC iPlayer, shall we talk about this now?
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
so iPlayer is really kind of coming into its own now, sort of thing, because it's not just doing the kind of catch-up type stuff, but it's actually bringing back a whole load of box sets, Netflix style, Amazon style, sort of thing. So you've got all of Sherlock. Including the New Year special from 2 years ago, I think.
So that's all on iPlayer.
All on iPlayer,
all the way
available
through
for free
Christmas.
for anybody. You've got every regeneration episode of Doctor Who. So in celebration of Peter Capaldi leaving, you've got all of the regenerations past.
All right,
if you
well,
like.
that's good.
Is that always Christmas? So they always do the
No.
Christmas?
No,
it's
no.
not.
No.
So, and they're
Christmas
not
seems
all
quite
kind
this
of Christmas
newish.
related, but
Okay.
you've got Peaky Blinders coming, and the most recent series is obviously on iPlayer now, but you've got all the old series coming back, and I love Peaky Blinders.
Okay, I so missed that.
Well, now's your chance.
If it's on my
So
list,
good.
yeah, it's on my list.
It should
It's
be top
amazing
of your list.
seeing how Cillian Murphy, how quickly his journey sort of goes through and sort of spirals and escalates, sort of thing. It's brilliant. You've got, what else have we got? You've got
Line of Duty.
Line of Duty, yes,
Which
one of
is
the biggest,
great.
massive talking point. You got Wolf Hall. If you're bored of watching Claire Foy in The Crown, you can watch her be another queen in as Anne Boleyn in Wolf Hall, which is the very, very high class sort of BBC adaptation of Hilary Mantel's novel. And also Blue Planet 2, obviously, it's already the most watched show of the year.
Wow.
On iPlayer. But also they are now for Christmas bringing back the original Blue Planet and Planet Earth as well. So
Which are both great.
Which are sort of both landmark series. It's amazing that they're sort of just offering them for everybody for free, sort of thing.
It's amazing. Admire classics.
I love it. And then Christmas comedy. They haven't got the old sort of Only Fools and Horses or anything like that, which will annoy a few people. But they've got Gavin and Stacey Christmas special,
That's
which
popular,
for
isn't it?
quite a lot of people is definitely their thing. And also there's a whole load of sort of David Walliams children's shows as well, sort of thing. So things like Gangstah Granny, which has been on in the past couple of years.
Yeah,
as
they've
well,
done a
sort of
few of them over every Christmas for the last few years. It's been a
so yeah, I mean
adaptation.
they're working really hard to kind of make it
And
more of a destination.
And do we think that might be something that's going to continue, or is this a one-off?
I hope so.
See
I mean,
more of this
basically,
as time goes on.
there's a lot of talk about how the BBC can make more use of the iPlayer, and
compete with
whether
Netflix.
and whether that becomes a a subscription service in time. You don't know. You know, that seems like the direction that they're aiming to go. And I suppose Christmas is the perfect time to sort of experiment with this and see how much people go back. Because, I mean, frankly, you know, of course you want to go back and watch Line of Duty or Taboo with Tom Hardy or something like that.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Another
like,
great one.
There's so much that becomes a big talking point and then goes away. So and at Christmas, you can catch up with all of that stuff. People have quite a lot of time on their hands. They're going to have you know, a long weekend as well before Christmas. Sort of
Yeah, no,
thing.
it falls nicely for your binge watchers this year.
Absolutely.
So it's a good year. It's a good year for binging.
It's a good year for binging. Well, that sounds great. I'm sure lots of people will be going back and enjoying a lot of those things. So, I mean, the other thing that people will want to do on demand is, you know, get their money's worth out of their subscriptions to their services, is probably go back and watch some of the best shows from this year that perhaps they might have not had time to watch yet.
Yeah.
And what in your opinions, as the on-demand team, would you say are the shows that are absolutely, you know, been 2017's highlights?
So there's
worth
the
going back for?
obvious things like Stranger Things 2, but you don't really need any more people to say watch it.
Well, you said it.
People
Watch
know,
it.
yeah.
Yes, that.
Do watch it though.
The one the one that was really one of my standout ones. It's a Netflix comedy called Glow. Which stands for Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It's fantastic. It's based on this 80s TV show, essentially. So it is the 80s.
Yes, yeah, it is, yeah.
And as a kind of sort of rival to sort of professional wrestling sort of thing, you know, and it's very low budget. This is the show that they're making, by the way. So in the comedy, you just follow the characters as they're making the show. So you've got the sleazy director who sort of seems to be, you know, who's bringing these young actors together and actresses together to sort of make this show that nobody quite knows what it's about. But it's just really funny, like the engagement. The sort of chat between everybody is just brilliant. So
it's really good. Yeah. I watched it and I spoke to the creators as well, did an interview with them. And it's actually also notably written, showrun and starring predominantly women. The showrun is female. And yeah, it's really sharp, really funny, like quite camp, I think, as we've discussed before. And yeah, I think it's definitely one for people to stick on their list.
One for your Christmas binge list.
Yeah,
anything else on that list?
How about you?
Yeah, well, one that I've been pushing out at any opportunity is The Good Place, which dropped on Netflix in September. So they released the first season and then started releasing episodes of the second season weekly. It's about a secular afterlife. It stars Kristen Bell. From people know from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and Frozen, of course. So it's a big one. That's another Christmas one where I don't know where that's on. I don't think anywhere has Frozen.
Oh no, Frozen's on BBC One.
Yeah,
it's on BBC One. Okay, excellent.
That's
so
why
yeah,
you don't know, because you don't actually look at the schedules
You're
at
stuck
all.
in your on demand.
I'm just very on demand oriented. But yeah, so it also stars Ted Danson, and so Kristen Bell plays a woman called Eleanor Shellstrop who gets accidentally put into The Good Place, which is a secular afterlife. She's actually kind of a bad person, and she tries to like hide to everyone there that she's shouldn't be there, and it kind of unfolds and twists and turns throughout the first season in like quite a nice, silly but fun kind of really. It's a mainstream American sitcom. It's not like, you know, the smartest bit of television, but it kind of reveals
like a fun
itself.
premise.
It's really fun, and it reveals itself towards the end of the season as something quite different. There's a bit of a plot twist, which I don't want to spoil for anyone, but it kind of turns out the show is completely not what you thought it was in the first place. And I think it's well worth people getting through the first season. Getting through sounds like a bad thing.
Just get through it. Get through it. It'll be all right. Doesn't it?
I mean, I'm watching it now. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Number one, it's really, really, really addictive because it's like,
Yeah.
as you say, it's shown on CBS. I think
NBC, yeah.
So it's like 20 minutes sometimes, sort of thing. You know, it's
really
like,
short,
really snap, but it's really snappy, and every episode kind of gives you a bit of a cliffhanger at the end as well, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you can kind of find yourself watching 4 or 5 episodes at a trot. what sort of thing.
Have you come on to the second season yet?
I have, yeah.
Because I think the second season is just, you don't know where it's going. I think it's always like really exciting, and they kind of exceed expectations every episode, because they kind of, what happens at the end of the first season means they kind of have to change the whole like structure of the show every episode, which is really, obviously I can't say that much on it because I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, it's well worth checking out.
I might give that a go. I mean, I'm obviously spending a lot of time on Designated Survivor, as any sound-minded person should. It's an excellent Kiefer Sutherland vehicle.
Are you caught up on that now? Are you?
Oh yeah, I'm up to broadcast, because that's on TV in America weekly. So it's a buy-in on Netflix, but so that you get them weekly, which is very frustrating, I find. You know, when you use Netflix,
when you're
just
used
kind of
to everything being
it to be there, and then you're like, what? I have to wait a whole week to find out what crazy thing's going to happen in the world of Designated Survivor again. Surely not.
And so what's happening in season 2? Because I remember season 1...
They changed it quite a lot, actually. So season 1, to bring you up to speed on what Designated Survivor is, actually a real term, which is a person in the American government who doesn't go to one of the big events. It's normally the State of the Union address or something like that, where everyone in the American political system is in one place. The designated survivor is someone who, and they do exist, is someone who doesn't go to that in case there's some terror attack or it falls down and everyone gets killed. So there's someone left to run the government. Kiefer Sutherland is the designated survivor in this series. He's this kind of quite low level guy, is essentially in the planning department. I can't remember exactly what the department's called, but he's not qualified to be president by any, and he's sort of just about to get fired as well. And then this guy blows up the State of the Union address and everyone dies except him, and he becomes the president. So the first series is all about him struggling with being the president, and no one wants him to be president, and everyone's trying to bring him down because he's clearly not qualified. But he's like this kind of really nice guy, and he's going to get through it. But he's sort of also battling against this massive terror network which is run by this evil guy, who in series 1, basically every episode there's something to do with this terror guy. Every time they think they've got him, he comes back again and does something else crazy. So it's kind of very sort of, it's a bit like 24, but he's not. He says damn it, he actually says damn it sometimes, but he's not the action man anymore, he's the president. But it's quite, in some ways it's a bit trashy, but in other ways it's quite, you can't help but watch what's going to happen next. But in series 2, it's becoming a lot more political. It's much more about the goings on and the relationships in the White House, because I think they've got a new showrunner. I'm not enjoying it quite as much now. I enjoyed the really crazy there's a cliffhanger every 5 minutes in series 1, whereas series 2 is a bit more like it's a procedural. Well, it's a bit more procedural, a bit more like, reminds you of The West Wing, but not in a good way, in the sense that it reminds you The West Wing was much better than this. It's not clever enough to be The West Wing.
Well, that's the thing. You
don't want those people in that situation. You want them like running around doing crazy stuff, sorting out problems of this terror network, which there's less of. There's still a bit. There's enough.
I think if you start taking yourself seriously as a show that has a ridiculous premise, I think that's when you get into it.
It's a great premise. And they changed showrunner, I think, at the end of series 1, and I think that they've kind of taken it in a different direction.
Okay.
I mean, it probably isn't sustainable, the kind of being a cliffhanger every 5 minutes.
True.
I think they've realised that. But I would recommend watching it. It's fun. It's a fun show.
So we've given 3 recommendations for Christmas, basically. That's not Christmas related. So it's good.
Yeah, so I think that's on demand. That's your on demand.
That's
Christmas.
That's all there is.
So I think
we've watched it all.
You can
that's
also
it.
Get lots of recommendations of what to watch on TV and on demand in this. The legendary double issue,
it's fantastic,
starring Santa Claus or Father Christmas, as some people call him. But that's available in all good retailers.
Yeah, and if you go to radiotimes.com/on demand, you can get so much more of this sort of stuff. We're rounding up all everything we've said, plus a few more shows, because
there's lots
it's
more.
Quite big.
Lots more shows that people missed in 2017. Christmas TV episodes, we got some of that going on. Lots of those on demand. So plenty.
You can watch every Christmas special of Only Fools and Horses on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you?
so
Okay,
if
that is
you-
good.
I know what I'll be doing.
So,
this Christmas.
yeah, time
Forget
on
all
our-
this stuff.
Time on our hands. It's fine. Again, Miami twice. I don't
Miami
know.
twice, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that about 8 times on the weekend on Gold by accident. It just was on over and over again, but I'd still watch it on Netflix if it was there. That just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching the Radio Times podcast and listening, for those who are listening at home. We will be back in 2018 for more TV and film chat. Merry Christmas.